These teams are both obviously at the bottom of the standings. 3 points for either team would vault them into the middle of the pack. Beast Coast, because they weren't able to secure a single point, still sit at 8 points. For Mirage, if they win, they'll be tied with TSM in 4th. For Space Station, if they win, they'll be tied with Beast Coast in 5th. There's tons of movement here for this matchup as well. And for teams that are trying to escape the bottom of the standings, this is a prime opportunity for either Mirage or Space Station to show their stuff. Operator bans are coming in, and so far it's been Thatcher and Ying. Michael, Ying was the star of the show on Oregon.
Literally.
And obviously sees some play on Villa 2. Not this time. Maestro is the last operator, or is the first operator on defense to be removed, and the last one is Wamai.
Okay, these bans are not too crazy. I would call them all staple bans at this point. Ying is starting to find her way back into the meta. Apart from, yeah, I mean, just skipping over the bans, I want to take a second to talk a little bit about storyline. I hope that's okay with everybody. Now, Space Station, they, as has been discussed, have had a pretty miserable stage. And it doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel right now. I'm a little bit worried for them after their recent loss to Dark Zero, their loss to Oxygen, and so on and so on. They've had some of their hardest challenges, though, so far. And this might be the start of the low-hanging fruit for SSG. Mirage. After this, they'll play Beast Coast. After Beast Coast, they play Xset. That's the next 3 days for SSG. So maybe this is where we see the recovery, Parker. Maybe this is where we see the world champions, not just like post, but reigning world champions, show us the performance we all know they're capable of, and they go absolutely wild. If not, however, I mean, you know, it's going to become harder and harder to root for them.
I'm not rooting for any team here.
I mean, neither
so
am I, Parker. I'm like kind of just generalizing.
I mean, I remember somebody from Evil Geniuses actually talking about Troy leaving the team, and he said, let's face it, he took a lot of EG fans with him that were never EG fans, they were always Troy fans. And I mean, obviously for Space Station, he played a very big role, just as if Bola were to leave TSM, just as when Pengu left G2. Also, Pengu left Penta, if you have been living under a rock.
That was the whole thing. I remember that. That was really
he doesn't play for them anymore. Anywho, Mirage is going to be starting on attack. Zofia is unbanned, so we're going to see her. And, you know, this lineup for Mirage, well, every hard breacher is open, able to be played. We don't see a lot of Maverick on this map, not anymore. A lot of teams like to run a Thermite and an Ace, maybe slot a Hibana in there. Even though Maverick used to be seen quite a lot prior to Ace's arrival, one of the reasons why Maverick isn't played as frequently is because there are these floors, Michael, that are quite soft, and something happens if you try to spend too long in one particular area, especially on the top floor.
Yeah, you're likely to get subject to explosive there, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Right now, Mirage, whoa, assertive play at the bottom of main stairs, but they will be dissuaded from that push by a Guzmat mine placed by Rampy on the staircase. That's going to assist in this hold. Rampy with the peek, but he can't land enough shots to get the kill. Neither can Nyx. Both of these players very disoriented in their engagement. But Fultz, a one-tap. Oh, boy. And that's on the ace of all hard breachers. It's going to be the one that you need to stay up right now. Not an ideal start here for Mirage, and since they can't get the main control that they're vying for, they're going to start to slow down and reconsider their options.
There's some damage done from Mirage as the star of his team comes alive, and he takes out the best player statistically from Space Station over this stage so far. Hot and Cold, whose name is a little bit peskier than usual, is doing some good work. I don't know what the stun was there with the Echo in combination, but Benji gets another kill, this time onto Rampy for his team. Benji's first, a second for Mirage, and now Mirage are immediately going to rush up those stairs. It's going to put Bosco in this position behind Bard, just watching quite intently as Thinking Nade goes on to support, and he will watch with the Yokai. So this is calm. Mirage will rotate. The push up the main stairs has seemingly faltered ever so slightly, and now Mirage is going to spread out instead. They don't have 90 control, and I don't know if Luke has been droned out from this position. It's hard to tell, but oh no. That's as free as the day is long. Hot and Cold repels in. No intel for 90, and Luke's position now known. So he can continue to hold Classical Hall. Thinking they'd guns down Nyx, and Benji and Loading will now try to deal with Luke at 90 before they can even think about getting onto the bomb site. There's a Yokai drone still in play, opening up some of the soft wall. Benji will now try from study into the bomb site and see if he can translate anything, but he translates himself from the living to the dead. SSG takes round number 1.
I like the setup from Space Station there. I like the way they played that. The Ella on the main staircase could use Guzmats really well to dissuade the attackers from executing onto the staircase. We also saw a different reinforcement pattern and rotation pattern at the top of, or by books specifically. By books, we usually get the rotation on the wall that's closer to main stairs. It was the opposite this time. Oh, there's that one tap that we heard earlier. Beautiful shot. But it was placed on the farther wall. Now, I think that the stun that actually allowed for Mirage to get control of the staircase eventually was... It sounded like it was an echo stun, but I think it must have been a Zofia stun. I don't think that the defense is in the habit of stunning themselves. Well done to Space Station holding out from that onslaught. Mirage were very brave in their execution. They were not, backing down from fights. That's great. Okay. But ultimately, the strategy from Mirage just wasn't there. Sorry, but pushing up main stairs in a conga line, while you will get main stairs control, is so expensive. Too many pieces of utility lost in the process. It's really not worth it.
I was enjoying the brief Ave Maria that we had, by the way, before it was snatched away from us.
Where isn't it? It's still playing, right? I mean, nobody.
Yeah, but it's down below.
Oh no, they shot it. How could you?
Damn it, Bosco. All right, so downstairs for the second bomb site, kitchen. We've seen an interesting shift in Villa over time. Trophy Statuary was the default second bomb site for a lot of players and a lot of teams. Now it's the bomb site beneath that, or at least beneath the statue component, or at least the statue portion. A lot of teams are still going to hold Trophy and Statuary, including Astro, as if this were a defense upstairs, but no, that's not the case. Mirage had some significant difficulties droning out Space Station on the previous round. The best example of that was when they were not aware of Luke's position on 90. Given that Mirage spent so much time on drones, we got to see it firsthand how long they were working on intel. They really should have had some wherewithal of Luke's position. This is going to be far peskier to drone out, because if Mirage are unable to find the spots that SSG is playing in above, then Mirage won't have top floor control. It will mean that their push onto the bomb site is far more linear, and additionally, way easier to be punished by the Space Station players who will be playing rotates and will be playing kill holes above.
Clearing that gate. I don't know if that's the best use of utility, but it will be enough to get the Mute Jammer off the wall, which opens up the wall, thanks to these Salmas coming in from the Ace. That's definitely good use. Now with the wall opened up, you've got a good line to cut off between the sites, and you're going to force Bosco to reposition by droning him out. Even stunning him, allowing for repellent. Benji's going to shoot to cover the sound, but Rampy is ready. Gun up and loaded. Down goes your first player on Mirage. Space Station are looking really solid today.
Space Station has kept tough with some teams towards the top, but it's so hard to get a good read on them. We talked about this in the DZ matchup, about how they do almost play and act like a different team. Nyx was getting hunted by Thinking Nade, the Jaeger. German for Hunter, by the way, just simply waiting. Rampy's good enough to collect that kill. Finds his second. He's looking to try to work his way back up, and oh, Rampy gets a third. No more for Luke, though, as Dream punishes him from inside a bicycle. Watching Hot and Cold die in front of him. Bosco's shotgun lands onto Loading, meaning Dream, well, his name is quite literally what he's going to need to want to do to get out of this situation. The Dream becomes a nightmare, and Bosco collects his second kill. Space Station collects their second round.
Yeah, we're slowly slipping into that nightmare, that's for sure, on the side of Mirage. Now, it's not done yet, but what is certain is these last two rounds have been really quite one-sided. Mirage's executions are confusing, to say the least. For example, repelling into storage as Zofia. Totally a viable strategy. I mean, you can do a lot from that position. However, generally when you do that, you would need at least one player on your team to support you. They could be coming up from the bottom staircase. They could vault in through the pantry window. It doesn't really matter, but somebody has to help you take that control. You need assistance. You need someone for refrag potential. No one from Mirage was there. Meanwhile, the take-in horizontal coming in from the west side. Again, not a lot of refrag potential. Many of the Mirage players were trying to solo clear out this or that place, and SSG were set up in a way that they were able to take 2v1s. I mean, let's say Rampy didn't win the fight against Benji, who was repelling into Pantry. Okay, that's fine. Bosco is right there. I don't know. I think Mirage needs to group up a little bit more. They need to, have a more concerted effort on a specific location for their execution. All that said, I find something really interesting going on right now in front of us. It's a library living room defense. You just don't see these a lot.
You mean library?
Library, Parker.
Thank you. Somebody actually tweeted at me earlier today, just for a second here.
Yeah.
Not wanting to upset people by going too far off topic. Somebody tweeted at me earlier today.
Oh, you're going to upset people.
Showing that they made their Uplay name Library.
Nice.
And their Uplay picture is a wall of books. And I think it's wonderful. Also, I'm pretty sure that's Stokes' sock puppet account. So
I feel like it should be a wall of books with, like, berries in between the books. It's like a bunch of berries.
We overcame this hurdle together. It was, it was a bonding moment, and we both grew and emerged from it.
Blueberries, raspberries.
You don't need to, Michael, you don't need to name every berry. Now you're just showing off. Take a load of this guy. He knows about lots of berries. No one's impressed. Nobody's impressed by your knowledge of berries.
I mean,
Fun fact. Did you know that Poland is the largest exporter of blueberries in Europe?
I now know that, yes.
Now you know that.
I do. The more you know.
Fun fact. Our former home.
Whoosh. The more you know.
Anyway, let's talk about the actual matchup that's happening here. A lot of teams want to take these double panels by the armoire. It's not actually the library bomb site. That's the living room bomb site. You've also got the mudroom. Yeah, it's an armoire.
Okay.
Hutch. Dresser. Whatever you want to call it. Lots of people call it different things. It's an armoire. I believe the official term.
All right.
Don't get me started on couches being called Chesterfields.
What?
You don't need to get into that.
Let's not.
But SSG are just holding and standing pat. And it's not that I think that Mirage don't know what to deal with this. Takes on this bomb site are actually quite common nowadays. We see lots of teams know how to deal with it. And Mirage have done what they need to do to take care of the two panels next to that armoire. Incidentally, also next to the grandfather clock that is just in the hallway. First kill goes to Hot and Cold. He nades Bosco. Luke is dropped. Thinking Nade was playing above, by the way. Still is. As was Fultz. Diffuser going down, though, and Fultz actually sees right through it. Oh, my goodness. That's some great Warden play. Through the smoke, yet another goes. It's Benji, lit up by the gunfire from Fultz, as he'll now switch over to the other kill hole that he has in Vault. Mirage have no foothold on this second floor. They'll have to send somebody up there. Could it have been Benji? Who knows? He's down now as Rampy finishes him off. Hot and Cold's in the middle of the bomb site. He'll need to grab and secure that diffuser, though. Nyx is gone now, too. His cousin, leaving him waiting. So Hot and Cold inside the library, doing an excellent job. There's a kill hole, but Thinking Nade pivots and smokes him. It's 3 rounds in a row for SSG. They complete the cycle, and they're up 3-0.
Library, Parker. I got you doing it now.
I said library.
It's a curse.
I said library.
Okay. The control.
You have to be quickly when the action's happening, Michael.
The control there for Mirage
back and forth.
Inside of a library was excellent. However, they weren't set up for a library take. They were set up for a living room take. And the biggest problem with executing on living room is that you have to also take top floor control. I thought throughout that round that there really was no answer for Mirage, that the holes in Vault were going to cause absolute catastrophe when Mirage went for the plant. And they did in the end. But there was a moment where it looked like Mirage might have had the answer. That was when Hot and Cold landed the nade. I think that might have been a pick off the player on the Vault holes. Not 100% sure. But it wasn't enough. And that much is certain. So the lack of control upstairs means that an execution into the living room is basically it's non-starter. You're never going to make that work. And yeah, I mean, the shot call from the beginning of the round for Mirage was just the wrong call. They'll take a tactical timeout here to try and reset and consider their options because they find themselves down now 3-0 to SSG.
I spoke very briefly, or rather I didn't speak. It was a conversation that I was having with the coach of Mirage, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but Guerra, I believe is his last name, and the name that he goes by, his handle. He used to be known as E Central, by the way. I've known him for quite a while. And basically just said to me about how all of these teams, and we talked about it a bit in the first matchup of today, all of these teams are coming in with a new look, you know, and they're starting on basically very limited strats, very default strats. So when you take a team like Mirage, who has never played Villa in an official pro level matchup with this roster, they are no way going to be able to compete with a team who, even though they themselves have gone through a transformative period with Luke joining the roster, they're not going to be able to compete right out the gate at the same footing that you'd necessarily see a more experienced team like SSG do. So that's something to keep in mind here. And I think that when you are watching this, this isn't so much an indictment of Mirage's attacks as it is on just how Spacestation plays Villa on defense. This map has gone through some changes as to a couple seasons where it's more attacker favored, more defender favored, back and forth. But Villa has long been one of the best maps for the defense. SSG are showing why. Yeah, Mirage has had some hiccups on entry, just as they did against Xset on their clubhouse matchup. But Mirage are performing, I think, pretty all right for their circumstances.
I mean, we're round 4 right now, and Hot and Cold's the only one with more than 1 kill. So that is a problem. They haven't shown any strategic prowess yet. So that's a problem. I'm questioning now in this round what they're going to do. It looks like they want to do it downstairs to open up the wall. And it's all right progress on that front. This is a pretty basic strategy. You want to get the Kaid Electric Claws on the wall. There's only one pre-placed by Bosco. He's juggling the second. And there's no roam downstairs from SSG, which means that this is basically free. Ash Charge will open up the wall. Now you try to find the Kaid Electric Claw, thinking they will challenge. And he'll die. That's great for Mirage. Electric Claw going low on the wall. This one, because it's harder to shoot, it's at an odder angle. They'll need to use another explosive. C4, speaking of, goes out and does damage to Nyx.
It actually blew up the Electric Claw, by the way.
Did it?
So,
yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah, it got stuck on some of the wood, and when he detonated it, it blew up the Electric Claw and damaged himself. So,
funny times.
Not exactly the best throw. Regardless, it opens up some of the wall. And it's good timing for Mirage, too, as there's about half the round to go for them to be able to pull something off. They're going to continue to find kills. We saw Thinking Nade perish. Now Luke is going to join him. So Mirage have an advantage. Now, they had an advantage before and didn't always work out in their favor, but this round is shaping up much more favorably than what we've seen out of them.
Yeah, definitely the best round from Mirage thus far. And as long as Hot and Cold doesn't die here, I have a lot of faith that they're going to be able to take this round. 2 gas canisters left, though, for SSG. No C4s on the board. And a flank from Rampy. This could make or break the round for Spacestation. I mean, no, it will make or break the round. If he can get a good flank off, he's going to control everything. He'll take down Nyx. Now expecting the flank watch. He will pre-fire, but miss his shots onto Benji, who does not miss his own. 20 seconds left here. SSG just need to hold out and survive, but they've lost Astro control, which is going to make this a lot more difficult. Gas canister to stop the push, but Dream just doesn't care. He's going to push in and get that plant off, while Bosco, the last anchor, will also be downed. Rampy now needs to retake a site. No C4 potential here from below, and in a post plant, he'll have to take 4 fights and win them all. This is certainly looking like the first Mirage round. Bosco might be salvageable, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to take a dub. Loading playing a very long angle from Master will actually get passive, meaning that, yeah, Rampy could pick up his teammate. I don't think he's going to sacrifice the time, though, and it doesn't matter either way. Loading, the final kill, and Mirage get their first round. There's the coveted clap.
This is the very first defense as well for SSG on this bomb site. So what? Have you noticed that we've had a couple kill cams that just haven't involved
killing
the people that are actually involved in the kill?
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, they're not seeing it on the broadcast because they were looking at Dream, but it's been weird. We've been seeing some super buggy kill cams.
Yeah, it's odd for us. You don't get to see it because instead you get to see the Dream clap, which honestly, if you asked me, Parker, do you want to see a round replay or do you want to see Dream clapping? The answer is, oh, I want to see Dream clapping. So
yeah.
It's a no-brainer. That was the very first defense for Space Station on Trophy. Now, we said they completed the cycle in the previous round. They went 3-0 on Aviator, Kitchen, and Library, and then they could have gone back and just done that again, but this is very similar to what we saw from Space Station when they were on Cafe. They went to all 4 bomb sites, win or lose. Now, we'll focus on Mirage in just a second, but let's talk about some theory behind Space Station doing that. I had speculated in the Cafe matchup that it is entirely possible that Space Station is using this, this period of time with Luke to iron out and try strats on other bomb sites that they might not necessarily play. And you're hard pressed to not agree with that when Library Living Room is showing up, because a lot of teams do not like to defend their period. SSG went there in their main 3 bomb site rotation. They could have completely avoided it and run through Aviator, Kitchen, and Trophy, just like most teams do. So I think that Space Station are just kind of trying things and seeing how they go. They're obviously not going to get kicked out or relegated or demoted for bad performance, and the team is very well aware of the circumstances they find themselves in. As for Mirage, I was impressed. I was impressed with Mirage that round. It looked like they had the best coordination. SSG's roam and offsite play got caught quite early, wasn't particularly strong and not very effective. And then SSG ended up losing bodies on the bomb site to start off with. Being able to isolate the roamers and not have them really do all that much, keeping them at bay while killing some of the anchor players, gave Mirage that big opening that I think was able to carry them through the rest of the round.
This is a very fast round for Mirage so far. We're just about a minute into this round now, and Mirage have got most of top floor control already. SSD is trying to contest, but only by Astro, really? So in hard north top floor roam, Luke is on the pulse, so he could do a lot of information gathering. But just in general, the Mirage clear upstairs has been really fast, and they're trying to pinch on these Astro players. They want to get these kills. ADS clear from Dream using his smokes. Nade will follow it up, and away it goes. And the shield as well. But it's Fultz to actually get the kill onto Nyx. There's a refrag, literally, from Hot and Cold, but at least for Fultz and SSG, he traded himself out.
Hot and Cold has been absolutely dynamite for this team thus far, and you can see it in terms of his kills. Very few of them have been low impact. He's been creating space for the team and able to operate independently, barring obviously having 1 or 2 drones at his disposal. That's been about it. Case gets picked up by Dream now as Mirage have control of Astronomy from above. The only one they've lost so far is Nyx, who's having a rough game, but loading will be added to that tally as Luke C4 connects, giving Space Station a leg up.
Located by attackers.
Luckily for Mirage, they still have the sledge in play. So even though you've lost 2 players, they weren't being very impactful in previous rounds anyway, you might be able to manage. Especially since you can get those holes opened above and in Laundry. Now with all that horizontal and vertical destruction executed for Mirage, they can take a little bit of a step back, wait for SSG to make the risky play, and start pushing in when we hit those last 20 seconds.
There are no smokes either on the ace, so I don't know exactly how they're going to be able to take control of this bomb site, as there's not much for them, and there's very limited cover. So Dream might just need to spring his way in. The test balloon is going to be Benji, who manages to take down Luke, still on his cardiac sensor. Pistol out, damage being done to Bosco. Benji and Dream arm in arm as the diffuser goes down. Benji's going to sit over top of him and just play the angles, bobbing, weaving, dodging, dip, duck, dive, dodge, and dip. Hot and Cold takes out Bosco. Diffuser's down as well. So SSG will now need to retake, and we'll see if they can do so quite gracefully. Dream has the angle held. He's not just doing objective play. He's also taking the killing into his own hands. So it's a flank from Rampy. Is anybody watching from the back? There's one! Excellent shot from Rampy to nail him down, and Benji and Hot and Cold remain. But the thing is that Hot and Cold is playing from above. Benji's gone. Rampy must know that there's somebody from above. He sees him at the last second, sticks the defuse. Very wary of the angles. It's a sledge. He can make line of sights for himself. A dance with the devil, but who will win as there's 12 seconds left? Not a lot of time. Rampy knows he's going to have to stick it. And he's effectively a dead man. Hot and Cold doesn't need to move a muscle. Diffuser is well past the point of no return. So this is, well, pointless. Round goes to Mirage because Rampy can't get it all done in time. A 1v3 becomes a 1v1, but not much to do with that top floor control. Mirage slowly inching back now as they've picked up their second round in a row.
Yeah, I mean, Hutton's not going to throw that. Rampy, you could tell he tried to fake out. So what you could do is you could just do the first tick twice, And that allows you a little bit more maneuverability, so you're less static while you're trying to fake. Really smart stuff from Rampy, but I'm sorry, Hotten's not going to throw that one. So well played to Hotten, doing exactly what he needed to do in that situation. The overall execution for Mirage, again, blunted by the loss of 2 players early on, but those players weren't really fragging out anyway, so not a huge deal. Following those deaths, the vertical was still a factor, the horizontal was still a factor. The destruction of all of that for the attack opened up the site. It pushed Spacestation way back, deep into their site, far away from the laundry wall, which is what allowed Benji to make that vault through the wall happen. I mean, a Selma hole in a wall that's a vault, I mean, it's very dangerous when it's the site. And you expect that to result in Benji's death, but because of the vertical play, Space Station just couldn't. They couldn't take down Benji on the entry. So, yeah, great play for Mirage, utilizing all of the tools they had at their disposal and all of the time. They cut it close, but it doesn't matter because they had exactly what was necessary to get that plant down.
Well, Mirage tightening things up after that timeout. Obviously taking it after the end of the 3rd round. Space Station wins 3 in a row. Timeout is called, and immediately Mirage bounces back, putting in their 2 strongest rounds thus far. And I mean, the 2 first rounds by Mirage were quite limp, if I do say so myself. Mirage able to regain that footing. Now, I don't know what possibly could have been said by their coach. Maybe they just needed to settle their nerves, or maybe their coach saw something about their team play that needed to be tightened up immediately. But regardless, it's paying off. We talk about the theory behind why certain teams call timeouts when they do. Sometimes we feel like they can be a little bit too late. Very easy to say, by the way, that this one was taken a bit too early. You lose the first 3 rounds. Yeah, if you see the match slipping away, it's a good time to take a possible timeout. In this case, it worked out in their favor. We have the benefit of hindsight to tell you if these things are good or bad as well. So it makes us look smarter than we actually are. Regardless, I can tell you right now, we don't need hindsight to tell you that this was a good timeout.
Interesting setup from SSG. Usually you rotate that shield at top main, but instead they brought 2 shields. They've already got the shield set up for 90 control. 90 control, speaking of, already in the hands of Mirage. They've been doing an overall good job of preventing time waste on the clear. Lots of well-placed drones from Mirage gives good information, and so when they're taking into the building, they know there's no roamers, and they can just kind of, you know, eat up all those positions. What they are also going to have to eat is their top frag, hot and cold. On the floor already, definitely cold right now. And that is the best start to a round, or to the engagement portion of a round, that SSG could have hoped for.
Yeah, that's particularly debilitating for Mirage, because not only is he their top frag, but he's also got the set of nades on the team, the only set of nades, and so far he's collected 2, possibly even 3 of his 7 kills with those nades in his hands, not to mention taking care of shields at the same time or coordinating downs for his team. So it's worked out quite well in Mirage's favor, and obviously will do them no well, given that you see the scoreline for the remaining players not capable of really getting the shots that they need. Nyx from below isn't aware that he might turn his back to one member of SSG inside a pottery. That's Luke, but Luke misses. Nyx puzzlingly goes to retreat. The call made for some particular reason as Dream engages and actually outduels Fultz on the deployable shield. Mirage now watching the flank and say goodbye to Luke as Dream is putting in some serious work here. But Bosco can whittle down the remaining time with his toxic canisters, knowing that the execute is coming towards a bomb site. SMG in hand, markers to line him up. Lots of damage for him and Rampy as well. He'll go prone on the ground and pops up and drops Benji and Dream. That's a beautiful hold from SSG, and they take the final defense.
Beautiful indeed, Parker. And the only real hope for Mirage that round was Dream's play, swooping in from study. He had no right winning that gunfight on the deployable shield. That certainly should have been his, but he's just better. Go Dream. And then what a read to take down the Kai downstairs. You think that might be enough, but no, just at that point, the round was already gone. There's a lot of questionable decisions made from Mirage to get us there as well. I mean, what is Nyx doing? You don't know. You have no information. It's very dangerous. You got to check your corners when you're on that entry. At that point, though, he had so little time that it was a risk he was willing to take, I suppose. A risk poorly calculated, it seems. And there's more to it than that, though. The overall take from into the site directly from Skull Door and 90 was pretty well stopped from SSG. And again, especially after Hot and Cold died. He has just been a fragging machine for Mirage. He's so necessary for round wins for this team.
I feel like people do get tired of us talking about top performers on teams, but you really have to shine a light on when a team is getting carried by certain individuals. And I mean, Dream was the one who took up the mantle in that round.
Right.
He enters through Study, opens up a portion of Study with the Selmas as Nyx is down below to take care of the Electric Claws he spots. Now, Nyx loses out on a possible fight to Luke, who's playing over an art studio, but Dream, because of that, is able to open up the Study wall. He takes an aggressive fight at the top of the stairs by the shield, and Fultz misses it. Now, usually when somebody is storming at you, with the advantage you may have online, the person peeking the shield is likely going to win that. On land, that advantage is significantly lessened. Dream wins the fight, continues to charge forward after he'd picked up another kill on the flank down below, and then immediately pivots to once again alleviate some of the pressure that his team is dealing with when they want to translate to an execute on the bomb site, using the last Selma to open up a small line of sight into the bar. But Bosco is better than him. There's 15 seconds left. You got toxic canisters and what a lot of people would consider to be the best shotgun in the game, and you're going to be in rough shape. Now, Mirage's very first defense is going to see a bit of a hold down below on Kitchen, with Dream already being pressured by Pantry.
Yeah, that wall being open is not going to be great for Mirage. There's still a top floor to clear. The Collie pick from Bosco is real interesting. So is the Capcan pick from Benji. So we're all over the place here when it comes to operators on Villa. Bosco's going to be great for opening walls, but he's not going to be great for getting kills. I mean, no matter how you shake it, it's a hard gun to work. So I'll be impressed if Bosco has any meaningful impact in terms of the fragging in this round. Very impressed, especially on a map like Villa, which is not great for that operator. In terms of the utility effect, it's already been good for Space Station, as we've seen the hard destruction pretty much work everywhere they've intended to place it. C4 used there from Hot and Cold, and to no avail. As well, he will be taken down by Fultz on an entry into Study. Wherever he came from, he's got the control now, and the vertical for SSG will be great, especially with a sledge still in play.
2 rounds in a row for your Malusi to be the first to die. This time, obviously, Malusi. Previously, it was Hot and Cold on Sledge. That's a Nitro Cell that is likely down, providing Hot and Cold had it on his persons. That leaves both Nyx and Dream to try and stop this plant. And one of those Nitro Cells will very likely be chucked into Laundry. That's at least where Space Station are likely going to want to try to push next, take control, and then get into the bomb site to get the diffuser down. Luke droning out Bike. They know that they might have some control in Memorial. So Rampy's job upstairs is going to be eerily similar to what we saw when Hot and Cold was on this specific role just a couple rounds before. Hold that line of sight. Do not get Nitro Celled, and cover for the post plant. These are the most important things that you need to do. Fultz doesn't use his eyes, though. He charges right into a Capcan trap. This is an operator that you don't see all that frequently, but Benji is putting him to work. He's got an entry into Memorial himself, sees the Nomad, and he does a lot of damage getting traded out by Rampy from above. Grenade primed and ready. It gets dropped, pushing Dream out of his position. Bosco snipes down loading as Rampy falls to Nyx on a possible rotate. Dream swings in, and in the midst of the smoke, he'll fire away. Nyx is credited with the final kill, and Mirage takes the round.
And that right there, what we saw at the end, that's the thing with Collie. The one missed shot. And I don't care how good you are, you miss that shot sometimes. And you're useless. A huge period of time where your enemy can shut you down before you can do anything. That's the problem with Collie. It's the same problem with Clash, but different. Clash, it's, well, I mean, you just don't have a gun. Yeah, you got information and control, but you don't have a gun for situations like that. It's, it's rough to see when you have those moments. You know that we would have seen a different story play out there if there was just one more gun for Space Station. And that's why Collie doesn't get played a whole lot. Yeah, you can get the wall open, but I don't know. It's better to bring an actual weapon and, open up above or below the wall you're trying to actually open with hard destruction, shoot whatever's stopping you from doing that. Anyway, that's just one little specific thing to that round. Honestly, Space Station, they played overall great. They got the vertical control. Fantastic. They start opening from above. They're even getting picks off of it. Fantastic. But then they... What? I lost somebody to a Capcan trap? I'm sorry? Well, you know, it happens. That sucks. And following that, Space Station never recovered their man advantage. That's pretty much the story. The constant back and forth. Mirage never let off the gas. Well played to them.
Worth noting that we saw the old G2 roster run Capcan here, and we've seen teams run Frost as well. Villa tends to be a little bit slower of a map. There's a lot that you need to drone out, and with teams liking this upstairs roam, when they are playing any of the upstairs bomb sites, think about it. If you're defending Aviator, which is where Mirage is right now, they're defending Aviator games for their second defense. If you're Mirage playing upstairs, it is not uncommon for you to have two players over near the master bedroom, over near trophy, over near statuary, closet, bathroom, Astro, wherever you would like. It's also not uncommon if you're defending trophy statuary to have people over on this portion of the map directly on your screen, which is the Aviator Games study component. If you're down below playing kitchen, ditto the very first bomb site that I talked about. You're going to want to put bodies upstairs in trophy and statuary and hold those positions. And because Villa is such a big and complex map for a lot of attacking teams, partially why it's so defender favored, it's not a surprise to see teams have to push and execute at the last moment. Capcan traps and frost mats go out of sight, out of mind when there's 15 seconds left, and you need to get as quickly as you can into the bomb site.
It definitely does become a problem. We saw that, obviously. Here in this round, the Capcan has been put on the back burner. Now we've got a Mira and, of all things, a Warden. I mean, I love to see this. The Mira setup's actually not uncommon. This is pretty standard if you're going to bring a Mira on Aviator. Nothing crazy going on there. The Warden might be expecting something like a smoke plant. We do have 2 sets of smokes on the attacking side, so that's sensible. With a minute left, SSG still don't have 90 control. They need to shove that out, get that control, and deny the rotation from Nyx, if nothing else, before they start executing onto Aviator, or they're going to have problems.
Well, they're very, very close. Air jab triggered, by the way, so Fultz will now know that somebody is flanking. Unsure of who it was that was the target of that air jab, but even the sound going off is often good enough for that air jab to be worthwhile, even if you're not able to capitalize off of it and get a kill as whoever on the defense is recovering. That's still essentially free intel that you've now had access to. The final moments of this round. Closing round, Mirage, if they prevail, will tie the matchup 4-4. Hot and Cold is down yet again, but he's not going to die, not just yet. Benji guns thinking nade down, and well, the advantage is Mirage to start things off. Opening duels have not been their strong suit, but they're going to continue to move forward from that. Benji in his position over by Study. Well, he's obviously read the coursework. SSG just kind of walks into the bomb site. They don't have a plan. They don't have a strategy. Rampy's now down, and well, nobody from Space Station seems to have a good grasp of this one. Fultz is there watching the flank. He's good for 2 kills. Well, technically 2, and one of them is Rampy. But Mirage has now tied the game up. It's 4-4 between these two teams.
I'm as confused as Dream, to be blunt. I mean, you could see it on his face. SSG had, that was a really, really terrible execution. Okay, so what they do there is, or what they did there was like somewhat standard, but it was missing so much. It's a master over clear at the beginning of the round. Okay, they get that master over. Air jabs on the flanks. Okay, then they put their nomad over by study. And now we've got a study push to augment this master over push, which is, yeah, that's okay, normal. Because what you can do is if you have somebody on study balcony as an attacking team, you can prevent the pressure from study that denies you the push into AV. Great, fantastic. That air jab, you're wondering what it was? I all but guarantee you, I didn't see it either, but strategically, I all but guarantee you that was the air jab on the study door that was supposed to stop the rotate from the Jaeger taking study. And it didn't. Why? Because it was triggered early. Nobody punished it. And then there was no air jab. So easy retake into study. And with a retake into study for the defense, that means you can't push into AV, no matter how many smokes you place down. So It's just a mess. And then what on top of that, why is Space Station not taking 90 control? I mean, I know that, okay, you don't have to factor it into your take necessarily, but at the very least, you stop Mirage that maneuverability, which they did inevitably use to flank you. So it's just, it was confusing. And they left, as Space Station left it to the last seconds of the round before they started their execute too. And you said it yourself, what was their execute? Was slowly walking into the site in smoke. I don't know. Confusing.
Both teams have struggled on this bomb site. You know, Space Station on defense was successful here both times. Now Mirage is successful, their first crack at it as well. So it just goes to show you that whatever it is, whatever is going on for these teams, they have had some significant hardships and wasted so much time. That very first round, I think, really defined this bomb site between these two teams and is emblematic of the fact that neither are really particularly strong with coordination on this top floor, at least on that Aviator bomb site. I mean, Hot and Cold tried to swing into 90 with no intel, 25 seconds left, and got punished by Luke. Space Station were not expecting Jaeger to still be posted up and supported by Nyx in his position at the top of the stairs either. These are things that you should have a good idea of, or at least take into account. And it's also goes once again hand in hand with how slow Villa has been. You don't notice a Capcan trap when you're trying to rush into the bomb site with 20 seconds left. You don't notice a Frost trap when you're trying to jump through a window 20 seconds left. You're not really thinking about that. And it shows right now that both of these teams are in some rounds letting the clock get ahead of them. Sharpening that up and being a little bit quicker to the punch is going to be a significant difference between these teams, but so far we don't know if that's going to happen for SSG, who will now be the ones that need to do that given that they're on attack for the remainder of the match.
They haven't shown us any really good attacks yet. That's the scary bit. I mean, I'll say that kitchen execution was okay. They mucked it up in the end. I don't know if that was the strategy's fault, though. It just happenstance there. And better play from Mirage. I do really worry about Space Station next time they have to attack on the Aviator, if we even get there. But for now, 1 minute left here on a trophy defense. What control does Space Station have? Kind of periphery control downstairs, but not really, though. They are going to start working on the wall, but it's a little bit late for that. They will stop the second Electro Claw from stopping the Selmas from opening the wall. That's fantastic. But now with 40 seconds left, Space Station have a hole in a wall, and they need to execute into the site. Suddenly, though, loading's going to get downed, possibly from below. I don't even know where that came from. Must have been a long angle being played, maybe from the bathroom door. No matter what, though, a nice down. Houghton, though, stops any more progress for SSG as he shuts off Luke. Rampy from top red, doing some work, getting Benji. That'll allow Thinking to go for a plant. Hot and Cold with the second, though. C4 well placed, but the plant is going to go down. The air jab's full. C4 is not from below, and now in a post plant, it's a 2v3 as Bosco stops Dream from taking bathroom. Houghton's got to put in a lot more work than he's already put in on this round. Nyx will hit an air jab as Houghton dies, trying to push in through the statuary door, and Nyx doesn't have C4 anymore. He's already used it. It didn't work. One on the diffuser, two by Master, and not a lot of chances for Nyx. They'll shoot the Goyo because he needs to cross, but it won't matter. Bosco, all the way from Master, will take that round and put it in Space Station's pocket.
You're in a separate bomb site with an SMG-11 in hand, diffuser down, clock working against you, and 3 players from your opponent's team still staring at you. That is an almost unwinnable situation. At best, he gets a single kill and gets immediately traded out by SSG. Couldn't even get that. We've all been there before. We've all had to deal with that. Ultimately, SSG looked mighty fine. They didn't pick up the very first kill. In fact, that was on Mirage. Even though the down technically came in, it wasn't capitalized upon. SSG's effectiveness on that master wall, to me, was the defining moment of their push. The inability for a Kaid who, no offense to loading, but he didn't really seem like he was that busy or that distracted. A lot of times, if you're getting pressured from below, if you've got somebody focusing on you potentially from one of the other bomb sites, you're worried about getting pushed from astronomy. If you don't have control of those avenues into the bomb site, then yeah, it's hard for you to juggle your electric claws. It's hard for you to fight back if somebody's picking away at you down below. But we'd have to go to a replay because maybe my eyes missed something. But it didn't look like loading was really getting pressed at all, and it seems like he had the benefit of time to try to get the electric claw down. One thing to note as well is that when you're hearing a Selma get thrown on a wall, when you hear X-Kairos get shot on a wall, a thermite charge going down, There are times where it can be utter chaos, whether it be because of your own gadgets, gunfire, or simply team comms that you don't necessarily hear well enough. Could have also been the entire case. The moment that that master wall got opened up, all of Mirage had to scramble to reposition. They lost control of bathroom, they then lost control of astronomy, and then they lost control of the bomb site. Even though they didn't hold it, they still had sight lines they could fight from.
The thing that's most impressive to me is just Space Station's ability to win that round with 40 seconds left, having just opened the wall. That's not a lot of time. You want to get that wall open way sooner. And Space Station had like almost no control elsewhere too. So it's just really wow. Good for Space Station. They pump the gas, they push themselves to the limits, and their limits are pretty impressive. So it worked. Yay! I love that assertiveness from Space Station instead of, sitting back and waiting for the round to end, which is something that we've seen a few too many times for anyone's liking, really. I mean, they don't like it either. So, with the first attack win, Space Station now are 1 away from match point. And this time, it's on to Kitchen. Last time Space Station executed here, they did it vertically. They went above, and, well, it actually strategically almost worked, but then they lost somebody to a Capcan trap and couldn't recover the round from there because Mirage took their advantage and went aggro with it. Now it's going to be a horizontal take in through library and living room.
They will march forward. Smoke will conceal the Selma going down on the wall. I don't know if that impact grenade was successful or not, or if the Selma did go off, but Benji's going to blindly spray through it and hope for the best. It sounds like the Selma did its job, but once the smoke clears, we'll have a better viewpoint. SSG are close. They've taken up space inside a living room. Luke has nobody to watch for the flank, so he's quite wary to go onto drone. It appears that the impact did not work, and SSG gets the opening kill here. If they continue to snowball this round, they will sit on match point. Mirage has an opportunity to tie it up. This is an incredibly crucial round, but SSG are doing their best to ensure that Mirage has no ability to close the gap, as they're coming out swinging. The first 2 kills will go to SSG, and now another will be added to it as Nyx is down for the count. More weight on the shoulders of Hot and Cold. Boy, that must be getting heavy, and he'll have to see a doctor at some point to try and fix that. Maybe a physiotherapist. We could recommend a good one for you. He'll play around a barricade as best as he can. The reinforcement not good enough to prevent SSG from getting a flawless round, and that's match point for Space Station.
I want to take a little bit of what you're talking about there and just say poor Hot and Cold.
I was going to say chiropractor, but I don't believe in those, so.
Physiotherapist is fine.
Physiotherapist.
Yes. But poor...
That comment, by the way, probably upset
a lot of
fewer people than the comment about the gearheads / car people in the previous matchup. But I mean, there's probably still going to be people irritated by that.
Yeah. We're just hitting all the buttons today, Parker. No, but what I wanted to say, though, is poor Hot and Cold. I mean, that's it.
Dream's been good. Let's be honest. Dream has also really shown up on this matchup. And
true.
I mean, when you look at Nyx, Benji, and Loading, yes, Nyx has bounced around pro play for quite a while, but Dream has had pretty decent stats on Tempo Storm. He wasn't a bad player on that team, even though the team itself wasn't particularly good.
I mean,
Dream was a bright spot.
Benji's also putting in a performance too. He's doing all right. He's not the Benji that we hope to see, because we know that Benji can pop off. You can watch a Benji just completely control a match. It's happened before. Not right now, but he is at least giving us an adequate performance. The biggest thing for me, though, Parker, is that I'm saying poor Hot and Cold here, because a lot of what we're coming to expect from Mirage in terms of winning rounds is the individual popping off. That's it. That's how Mirage win so often when they actually do win. Not matches necessarily, but rounds. It's because, someone like Hot and Cold or Dream or Benji, they have a round where they get a 3K or a 4K. And it's just so unreliable. I mean, that last round just now, that was strategy, teamwork, and execution done, in great unison by Space Station. They made a shot call. They followed up that shot call. We're going to come in horizontally, library and living room. We're going to open up the memo wall, and then we're going to follow that up with catching all of the defenders as they rotate, create a blender, and then execute into the site in unison. They didn't even need to take above because they knew what their strategy was, and they did it well together. That's why I say poor Houghton, because it's weird to watch a setup, whether it be defense or attack, that relies on an individual performance.
It must get frustrating for some of these teams where you've got one standout performer putting in work and the rest of the team, just whether it because it be, you know, a dearth of strategy or it just be, you know, an absence of mechanical skill or whatever. And I mean, it's hard to talk about bad performances without sounding like you're punching down, especially when you're a newer team. Not Loading has only played in 6 play days at this level. That's it.
Yeah.
This is his 7th play day. So it's not like he's had a ton of experience going up against the best teams. And you know what? For those people that scrim or play T2 or T3 teams, I hate to say it, but that's not a proper substitute. Playing on game day in real pivotal, crucial matches, that's the best experience that you can get. And right now, there are some players on Mirage that just don't have the same experience. One of them is Benji, despite being a good performer. And now Nyx is dead as well, as Rampy from down below is just a tour de force, just gunning through the floors and now waiting to see if somebody is going to bother to flank. The answer to that is no. Dream goes down for the count as well, and Mirage find themselves in a 2v5. Loading has to take a chance now. He'll swing onto the door where there's some presence on the balcony by SSG. But it all appears to be for naught. It's Loading and Hot and Cold. The 2-3 armors still in play. 45 seconds left. Almost impossible situation for them to find themselves out of. Teams have really struggled to attack Aviator in this matchup. So historically, that will benefit Mirage. Possible comeback brewing as Loading takes down Bosco. 30 seconds left. A Nitro Cell from Hot and Cold can net a kill over towards the top of stairs. It'll get tossed out, but it's a little bit too premature. He might actually have to rotate around his own mirror window as he's been droned out from the doorway, and he knows it, but he's going to court a fight anyway. Loading's re-entry to the bomb site knocked down by an air jab. He'll push up to Study, trying to see if SSG are pushing from that angle. He's not. Hot and Cold needs some help by the back of bar. He takes down one, pops up, looks the wrong way. Damage coming out. Hot and Cold, are you kidding me? A huge 3K to steal the round, and Mirage are still very much in this.
Hot and Cold giving his team the performance that they absolutely need. And he will keep them in contention. However, just barely. Incredible round from the man. He could not be shaken off of that bar. And now Mirage are 1 away from overtime. I have to say, though, and I don't mean to deflate this too much, but wow, I mean, it's...
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, it's Hot and Cold. Again, did I say it earlier, Parker, or did I say it earlier? You can't rely on that. There were so many... Go ahead.
It's not even that. It's that Space Station were up 5v2. Make it a 4v2 because they lost one body.
That's true.
They kept one of their players out on balcony. There was no split push towards Study. The player on balcony seemed to just wait watching Study. Okay, fine. The 3 final members of SSG pushed almost one by one through a narrow opening towards the back of the bar, and they had no utility themselves to clear out Hot and Cold, who was playing in that angle.
Right.
Rampy as Buck could have very easily stayed downstairs and continued to strip away at the floor, giving greater horizontal pressure or vertical pressure to either Hot and Cold or Loading, while the members of SSG that were still up top, which would have been 2, by the way, could have watched the back bar and maybe had one go through the door and one go through the bar at the same time. But SSG, why? 10 seconds left. They had nowhere to go. Once again, pointing to the fact that these 2 teams are taking way too long to figure out where to push on Villa. And it's costing them because when you've only got 5 seconds left, you got to just go through the same entry altogether and a Vector's going to shred you.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of blame that needs to fall on Space Station's shoulders there. I mean, the execution could have been done better, but there were so many things that went right that round, Parker. So many. I mean, okay, the execution by top main. Space Station did great job on that one. I love what they did over there. The Study overall pressure was good, and that's despite the mirror windows. Also, it was Nyx. Nyx was playing on Warden. He was trying to reinforce that Book's wall, and I saw it coming from a mile away. Rampy actually did that to me in FPL once. I was playing FPL against Rampy, and I was defending on top main. I fell back off top main, started reinforcing the same wall Nyx was reinforcing, and Rampy shot me from below. He knows that angle. So, okay, and then that goes great for them. They get the Nyx pick. And now, oh boy, they've got all this control and all this man advantage. And yes, they do admittedly throw it away at the end. But part of that is also still Hot and Cold's performance. And that's what I'm worried about for Mirage. Now, they might be able to take that momentum, that mental momentum, you know, in air quotes, if you believe in such things, and they might be able to turn that...
I air quoted for the record.
Thank you. And they might be able to turn this into overtime. But what happens in overtime? I don't know. I don't know if Mirage could carry it all the way. This is looking like a lot on a few people. And, I mean, jokes aside, it is going to break at some point.
And that's a potential hugely deflating and demotivating round as well for Space Station. That round should have been theirs. Up until the final 10 seconds, that round should have been theirs. Now, might we see a repeat as SSG finds themselves on the board first? Nyx dies. He has not had the most impactful game for his team just yet. And this round will not be particularly impactful either. Good thing they have Benji here. As Boss goes in the bomb site, picks up kill number 2, or rather, the old bomb site. Luke finds a kill of his own, with Benji getting a second onto Luke. And Benji now retreating as best as he can. He'll come to blows with somebody inside a study, but can't really do all too much with the Ash of Fultz. He'll scamper back to the bomb site down below. This is a pivotal round, of course, for Mirage. It dictates whether we go to overtime. I said before we came into this matchup that there are 3 big points on the board for either of these teams. Overtime denies either of them the full 3, and they would split them with the winner taking an additional 1. For Mirage, that's best case scenario now because there's no win condition at the moment without going through overtime. And they know that the tide is coming. Ever so slightly. Maybe suddenly. They're not entirely certain. Benji down below. He's been good for his team this round. He's trying to do more, but he gets spotted trying to get through the rotate and leaves it up to Dream in a 3v1. One more smoke remaining for him. Through the rotate hole. Beautiful play as Dream from below will now need to smoke out a possible plant. There it goes. Is it clipping enough? It is. Thinking they needs to reposition. Dream swings around. He went on the ground. Dream has everything. It is. Clutches and he gets it. My goodness, 2 huge rounds in a row. And Mirage are pushing this to OT.
Dream living the dream indeed. Beautiful clutch. Wow. But again, a clutch and a necessary one at that. He landed the shots and he's making his career, and I love to see this. This is awesome. Mirage now in overtime. They're carrying that momentum all the way through. And they get defense first in OT, which is obviously the advantageous situation. They want to be on that defense. We've seen now 2 4-2 splits favoring the defenders in a row. Space Station's execution. I mean, again, this feels like a broken record at this point. Space Station execution, great. They did the vertical. They got the control. They clear out the roamers above. They start pushing into their plant spot. Everything's going correctly. It's all looking good. And then they get clutched on. And this time, I don't even really think that Space Station played it poorly. I mean, they left somebody on vertical. They had one cover. That cover was playing as safe as he could have given his situation with the smokes through the wall. And the planter had to plant because it was on 000. Now, okay, maybe Space Station could have given themselves a little bit more time, but honestly, it takes a lot of time to clear above. And yes, we could go back to the old, oh, they're too slow in their execution argument. That's fair. That's fair. Maybe a little bit more time would have made the difference, like I said, but I don't know. It's a stretch. At this point, it's just Mirage playing well as individuals, not as a team, because they didn't play well as a team that round. The top floor roam was bad. They lost Hot and Cold and 2 other players, I think, early on. Following that, they salvage Benji amazingly, and then Dream has to clutch. And that's really the story. He does. Fantastic. Good for Mirage. But it's still, that's very dangerous.
Yeah, what did Dream have working for him on that round? The opening that he killed Rampy with was the opening that Rampy created. And that was a beautiful shot, and ultimately it was the first domino for Dream. If he misses that shot, if he misses that duel, even if he doesn't immediately die, if he misses that duel, he still can't push up as brazenly as he did because he has to worry about the Buck being able to just swing around, look through the kill hole, and very easily spot Dream as he moves his way towards where the diffuser is going down. It's once again, as you put it perfectly, it's individual players that are exceptionally gifted with good game sense playing off of that. Now, you're right, that round as well. I'm going to say you're right a lot because that was basically exactly what I could have added, but stated much better than I could have ever said.
I disagree.
That play by Hot and Cold 2 rounds prior was a huge assist from SSG's misplay. They misplayed the clock.
Oh, no.
Now, on that previous round, that was a huge benefit from Dream just playing off of it well. To start for SSG on the first round of overtime, there will be no 3 points for either team. They've both netted a single point. The winner of OT gets yet another for 2 points. the loser still walks away with 1. For teams that are towards the bottom of the standings, and especially for Mirage, this is a win as they did not have an opportunity to close this one out in regulation. Just going to overtime is, well, it's a bad position for SSG to find themselves in. They've been out-dueling Mirage extraordinarily well so far. Of the opening duels over the 13 rounds, 9 have gone to Space Station, 4 for Mirage. Now, most importantly, the last 2 rounds, SSG got the opening duel on both of them. And we know how both of those turned out. So SSG needs to be better through the mid-round and especially at the late round in order to ensure that they take it against Mirage. If not, Mirage find themselves on match point.
Well-placed nade from Rampy, and that's his 2nd kill off of a nade in this round, as well as just overall. Push up through Astro stairs, and soon this control will be pounced upon for Space Station. There's nobody on Mirage's side to deny the Astro control. Loading is honestly on an island. Benji playing over by Boar, Cotton inside of Statuary, and now there's the Astro control well in hand. Loading's gonna get a nice impactful frag onto Fultz. He needs to get those. That's huge. But will he get read? There it is. Yes, indeed. Thinking nade from Master Door will take him down. It's just Benji and Hot and Cold, but they're the star performers. And they're going to turn this into a 2v2 from a 4v2. Only 10 seconds left, and the plant has to go down, meaning this is just Bosco trying to cover his teammate. He'll be successful in the first fight, just barely with a hip fire. As he hits the ground, he'll go for a reload as well. Air jab puts Hot and Cold on the floor, but he's back up, gun up, and ready to fight. 35 seconds. He's got to retake control so he can get that disable. But these attackers are spreading themselves thin so that he has to hunt 2 separate 1v1s. This is masterful play from Space Station. He'll get on the diffuser. Hopefully there's some information. And yes, there is. Luke, all the way from Master, will shoot through his hole and end that round. Space Station take the first of overtime.
Well, we had 3 opportunities for clutches, but the clock hits midnight on the Cinderella run from Mirage over the last couple rounds, and SSG once again on match point. They weren't able to put it away with the 2 opportunities they had. This time, the tough spot that you're going to find Mirage in is that they're going to be the ones on attack. Now, if you look at the way that this map is played out, it's been 4 rounds on defense, 2 on attack. Sometimes overtime bucks that trend. Sometimes we will find an extraordinary defensive struggle where the defenders will win 9 or 10 of the 12 rounds in regulation, will suddenly and puzzlingly break in favor of the attackers for OT. Entirely possible, by the way, that that's a thing, but I'm not entirely certain how I feel about it here. It's going to be a kitchen defense for SSG, and for SSG's defensive stead, this is a bit of a coin toss, and I find it funny that they're going to go to this bomb site. They played it twice. They won the very first time. They lost the second attempt. They tried to retake through Memorial, if you remember, and just couldn't get it done. Benji was able to watch stream as the diffuser got down, and, well, the lockout from Mirage was mighty fine. Aviator was a perfect bomb site for Space Station, and has been a perfect bomb site for the defense thus far. I'm kind of surprised as to why SSG wouldn't go there. This is Space Station's only crack at defense. It's not like Mirage. If Mirage ends up winning this, he'll have another opportunity to defend. I'm just curious to know the strategy behind this.
I think Space Station are reading into the take that we saw from Mirage when they came above, which is the south over, which is we're going to see that repeated right now. As you can tell, it's going to be a south over or a study over, however you want to put it. Essentially, they're going to want to contact with above the roamers above at top red. And Boar, which they already have control of. Look at this. Wow. So fast. Already at top red. Now, we can take this control as the attackers. We can extend this into Astro and hopefully Master, and it should be too rough. But I think, honestly, the gates from the Aruni upstairs on split are going to go a long way in assisting the survivability of this roam. And we've also got the standard setup here for Space Station in terms of in Astro itself. 1 on the stairs, 1 on the shield. This is going to be a difficult position to dislodge for Mirage when they eventually get to it.
SSG getting a little antsy down below as there's been an awful lot of calm. Very minimal storm so far. Usually you see there's a calm before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
Fultz is hunkered down inside of Astra. He's got Rampy on the stairs to trade him out if need be. Rampy can also pop up to support over towards bathroom if needed.
That's wasteful.
Hot and Cold and Dream are going to burn out the ADSs. Nitro Cell goes out, but Hot and Cold is smart enough to avoid it. Nade goes in and it lands, but doesn't do enough damage. Folds is taken down by Nyx. So who knows how much that grenade was able to do. It's also made Rampy rethink his decision to be on Astronomy Stairs, and he's going to just scamper off. Mirage now has full control of that top floor, and I'm not sure if they're aware of it, as Rampy will rotate through the basement to try to get to safety.
Super impactful frag from Nyx there. He hasn't gotten a lot through this match. Every single one he adds to the scoreboard is going to be like solid gold for Mirage at this point. The fact that he is able to do that, I mean, like I said, it was going to be a difficult position to deal with, and Mirage dealt with it without losing a body. It's massive. Last time Nyx tried to attempt that very same push, he actually died on that attempt. And his team did win the round, I think, but still, you know, a difference maker for sure. Now with only 45 seconds left, Mirage have the vertical. They have the soft destruction, 2 sets of breaches, and a hammer. They're going to start opening up from above, and even the laundry wall to begin their execution.
And Luke was caught in Memorial last time, trying his best to give info on that cardiac sensor. He's going to be immobilized when he's calling for the team, and he needs to be really smart about this because he's already receiving some presents from above. His hot and cold will just wreck and do his best extreme home makeover from above. Benji destroys Bosco, and Thinking Nade falls as well. Everything is coming up for Mirage. Any possible re-entry into the bomb site? Well, it's being watched, but Dream has now been downed. Rampy from above. So somebody else is going to have to go onto the diffuser. Up above, the sledge gets punched by Rampy. He's going to drop. Now Nyx is on diffuser. Rampy finishes this one off. Is Nyx going to be able to stick it in time? Will the coverage be good? Can Rampy get in and stop it? No, he can't. Post plant, 40 seconds remaining. Everybody take a deep breath. But Nyx doesn't need to. He's great by the kitchen island after he gets the diffuser down, and a tremendous round from him will give Mirage an opportunity to close this one out. We need all 15 rounds between these two teams.
God. Rampy just made a bid for play of the year. He almost managed it too. Space Station are going to take a tactical timeout here for the final round of overtime. I mean, if you're going to use it, you may as well use it right now. So Rampy, okay, no, let's zoom out a little bit further. Space Station, their overall defense, pretty miserable. The roam upstairs by Astro, I thought was going to last a lot longer. I mean, I hyped it up. It looked like they had learned from their mistakes. The last time Mirage cleared that out, it's the nades from the Astro window, it's the clear in from Split for Nyx. You know, I thought the gates were going to be the difference maker, but no, not at all, actually. Nyx just walked through the gate, I think. He took the damage, so. And Mirage ate that one. They didn't really care. They got the control above, and there was no refrag at all from SSG. So after that, Mirage have man advantage. They have vertical advantage. They start opening above. Not a lot of time, so they start going for the execution. And every single entry works out for Mirage. I mean, heck, we even saw a drone following Luke that he just ignored, and he couldn't do anything about because he was too distracted by all the angles. I thought the round was just a clear win for Mirage, and it ended up being, but man, Rampy gave it a heck of an effort. He almost pulled a fast one and swiped that round away from his opponents, and I was very worried for Mirage there, but no, we get the final round of this match.
I feel like you and I have been only getting like 7-8 games recently. We've been in the long haul. We've got the Flynn curse.
Well, not the first one of the day. That was 7-2, but it's like
besides that, we had long games.
Yeah, we usually
had very long games.
Yeah,
and there was a play day, I want to say like 2 or 3 days ago. I can't remember exactly which one, but I feel like we had the full shebang. We had to go all the way, but
right.
I don't know. Regardless,
we have
these have been exciting, and this match in particular, very similar to the Mirage XSET match. This has not been a master class in technical proficiency between teams. There have been plenty of mistakes committed, and we can harp on those mistakes. I think softening our tone is a good idea, especially when dealing with two teams that are in a situation where they're learning. They are learning, and I think that's a good way to put it. Even SSG is now learning to adapt. And Luke has been having a pretty decent game. He has been much colder on the scoreboard in the second half. But he's been crucial for helping out on utility. He comes in with the most plants. Still, he's added another plant to the tally. So,
yeah,
kudos to him. He's going to continue to try and rack those numbers up.
Speaking of, you got Nyx here. He's trying to play the vertical angle, but last round he was a major difference maker. He got 2 kills last round, which you know, that for him right now is really significant. I think it's part of why Mirage's round was so dominant. Usually when you see players who are not having a good match actually pop off and make a huge impact, then it's a major difference maker if you're in a closely contended match, and that's what this is. It's 7-7 right now. And on that note, also, we've got shoot the drone, Nyx. What do you do? And you're gonna get shot from below because he didn't shoot the drone, and it's calling you out. Not a lot of control so far for Space Station, given we're a minute into this round.
This site has been absolutely a cash money for the team so far as Rampy takes Benji out of the action. Nyx is not going to be able to recover from the blows that he got struck in earlier, so he'll have to do something about that. Hot and Cold is a man on a mission down below, trying to slow down SSG, but bad news for him, he gets spotted. Back to the bomb site, or at least as close as he's going to get on the top of red stairs. That is good enough for him. He was a huge playmaker on this bomb site before. But you can see that the setup for Mirage is completely different from the last time that they went here, absent the Mira. So they're going to have to play maybe not as defensively, not as much of a turtle setup as before. And that speaks to why Mirage were so intent at holding the peripheries of the bomb site. It's allowed SSG to quickly take up some space on this top floor, and they are knocking at the door of being able to get into the bomb site. They've still got some work to do. Oh, keep Rampy down below. This, to me, was the biggest issue for SSG last time. He was not involved in removing some of the safety from the defenders, and the more that he can use that skeleton key, of which there still has a couple shots left, the less secure the defense will be. SSG are getting choked off at the top of main stairs as one of the gas canisters from Dream will connect. He's got none left, so he's just going to try to watch the opening as best as he can. The SMG-11 is not a good weapon to do that, but he's got some help. SSG has the advantage, waiting for a swing in towards 90. They'll even the odds as Nyx guns down full. It's a nitro cell connects onto Rampy. Nobody's going to be able to make their way up red. Bosco, though, one of his own onto Dream as Nyx is holed up inside a vault. Hot and Cold finishes off the kill he'd secured earlier. Nyx sees one by bar, can't connect. He'll engage his ability. Loading 2 big kills. Diffuser surrendered. Nobody can get to it. Mirage steals the win on round 15.
And we were talking about those quiet players having impactful performances. It's Loading this time, stopping the plant and saving the round for his team. Loading's been taking a lot of flack recently for his performance through this stage, and boy howdy, was that an important round for him. No one else could have made that play on Mirage. Not one other player would have been in the position in that moment to change the round's outcome. But Loading was there, and he didn't mess it up. That's exactly what you need. And Mirage, what an impressive win, 8-7.
They really stuck with it and muscled out a victory on a map that we haven't seen them play as a team at this level ever. So kudos to them and kudos to their performers. Rampy, by the way, finished the matchup with 20 kills.
Oh my
That is
God.
an impressive tally, and all of Space Station has been orbiting the top 20 of individual player stats. Now, obviously, their performance against DZ knocked them down quite a bit, but either way, this is still a good team in SSG. They've obviously been dramatically underperforming what people